Hey AfterBuzzers, we're here doing another Pretty Little Liars after show. Tonight we're talking Season 7, Episode 4, Hit, Run, and Run, and Run. So, we also have a special guest in studio, David Bianchi, and stay tuned for all the revelations from tonight's episode.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Got a secret, can you keep it?
I feel like we shouldn't sway tonight because we got like a different panel going
Yeah,
on.
I feel like we gotta pass that one up.
Yeah, I'd be like, let's go. Unless you want to do a little at the end, do you? Do you want to be one of them? All right, we'll turn it to you. You ready? It's coming to you.
One of them is dead.
You nailed it.
Claire, David.
You know what?
Yes. New intro.
I think they're gonna have to redo the credits of the show just so you can like do that because I feel like you were a little bit more sensual than the girls were.
Was that?
Yeah.
My feminine side came through?
That
was amazing and such a great start to the episode. Let's introduce ourselves. I'm Stephanie Wenger.
I'm Hannah Prichard. You all can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @thehotshotdude.
I'm Becca Brown. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV.
My name is David Bianchi. You can follow me on Instagram at dbianchisag and at Twitter at David Bianchi. That's CHI, hard K sound go.
Yes, way to get the introductions done, guys. All right, so let's jump into this crazy episode tonight. So many revelations. I have a different order planned, but I want to jump actually into Toby's revelation at the end of the episode. I know that that's a backwards way to go, or do you want to start at the top?
I don't care. I don't even know if that was a revelation. That was just him, like, finally presenting the information that we were waiting for. Like, we found that out in the last episode. You're talking about him not being Mr. Rollins, right?
Finally doing a good job at investigating.
Yeah.
I think what was just a little bit more dramatic was actually the girls watching them realize that he finally realized it.
Yeah, right? I loved that, actually. I would agree with you. It wasn't even his revelation. It was more so an embarrassing moment for him.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's again the police just taking their due time with everything. They seem to be the last to know in this town.
Yeah, and speaking of that moment, like,
definitely.
I love that moment. I'm gonna go now, girls.
Wasn't it very
Do me a favor, I don't know what this guy's capable of. He's underground, bro.
It's amazing.
Seriously, I thought that entire moment of Toby, like, pacing back and forth, I was like, oh, they're giving him, like, a real, like, cop moment. Like, we really need you to cop up right now, man. We need you to pace back and forth. He even put on, like, a little voice. I was like, man, what's happening? I feel like I wasn't really a fan of that Toby cop little version that we saw. Whatever.
It's the first time I feel like Toby's actually done his job as a cop.
I agree with you. I feel like it's been a while since we've seen him do a proper investigation, and this was it tonight. But I feel like the girls did an even better investigation, or maybe not investigation, but trying to hide what they had going on. I love the beginning of the episode with the shuffles, and Hannah's freaking out. They all have their moment of freaking out about what they've done.
Yeah.
Well, I like how we saw what we saw at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Because I was confused about that whole scene.
At
the very beginning of the season.
Season, yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, to be quite honest with you. That we saw at the beginning of the season?
The shovel moment.
Oh.
Are you talking about the beginning of the season or beginning of the episode?
The beginning of the season, I forgot. They did flash them digging the hole at the beginning of...
You know what, you're right.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Right. Good on you all.
I know. Way to jump into the panel.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking
Brain on beat.
That was beautiful. I think we got to use that from now on. Brain on beat.
It's amazing. I was really kind of... It's what they've been leading up to, I feel like, so far in the season. This is episode 4, of course, and so we're finally getting a little more information about Hannah's experience with Rollins, and we hear all of that tonight.
Yeah. Well, okay, now I'm kind of curious, though, you bringing that up. Did they film this episode earlier? Was this, like, one of the earlier episodes that they filmed before?
You mean the exteriors?
I mean, I guess. Oh, I get. But you were part of the table read for the whole thing.
No. I was at the table read for the whole thing, and everything that I saw in that episode was on the page.
Right. Now I'm like confused though if they filmed that episode earlier on or if
but there's just because they shot You know, just because the order they shot doesn't necessarily mean how they edit the promos. You know, because when they shot it together, they're probably like, oh, let's maybe give them a little bit of a teaser. And they're probably like, okay, let's take this little shovel moment, even though they shot it after episode 1. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that they, you know, decided to not include it in the promos.
Interesting. Okay, I just thought that was interesting.
Now I'm
since
wondering,
they put it in the first episode.
Yeah, now I'm wondering like what episode they were on filming wise when the season premiered.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of curious now too. Or if they film the entire season.
No, they're still in production like right now.
For this season.
In fact, I just got a text message from a friend of mine who just booked PLL.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so they're still shooting it.
Okay, well, you'll have to get him to come and present it.
If I remember, there's a lot of episodes because it's such a popular show. I think it's like, is it like 6? It's more.
I think
16,
it's 22.
22. It's a bunch.
Yeah.
It's a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Let's jump into the missing car though. And so this was one of those things where I love that they like pointed out at the beginning of the episode. They were like, well, we're going to miss something. Like, I think it was Hannah said, like, we're absolutely going to miss something. And they always do because they don't have a show without
something going wrong.
Without something going wrong. It would be like, all right, done and done.
Like, yes, success.
Yeah. So the missing car, and then we find out about the burner phone. But the missing car, what did you think when the car went missing? Who did you think stole that car?
I didn't think really anybody. There was nobody that I was predicting stole the car, to be quite honest with you.
Because I knew that Jenna was coming back in the episode, I was thinking Jenna at first, but...
Yeah, because who knows if she's even actually blind anymore, so that's possible.
Yeah, I'm confused about whether or not she's blind.
It's gone back and forth.
It's gone back and forth, like, I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Like, I know this is we're getting a little bit out of order, but since we discussed this while we were watching the episode,
it's all good.
I want to talk about the blind chick. All right. Sorry, guys out there. Look at me. All right. Why is it about Pretty Little Liars that even the blind chick walks in stilettos with a strut? Like, she was working.
Yes.
She was on the catwalk and she was hot with these beautiful, just only on Pretty Little Liars.
I know.
I mean, the fashion and just like the way they do it on this show is pretty crazy.
And I love the fact that the establishing shot of her was like the seeing eye stick was clunky, but the feet were in unison.
Right? Yes. It's so
yes, I loved it. It was wonderful.
That's the one
she
thing.
Can walk perfectly.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter storyline, they always have to have the outfits on point, which is hilarious. They're like, man, who cares if it doesn't make sense? It looks great.
I want to say it was Glamour today actually had an article up about how the girls dressed for a funeral in, I think, a past season of the show. And it's like, you would never in real life wear anything like this to a funeral because it's like the little black dress that you're wearing to the club. And you're like, that's not and it's not an appropriate funeral option, but all right.
It's like a planned shopping day for funeral dresses.
Yeah, it's really weird, but I love it. I think that it kind of adds a whole thing to this show. Like, without the fashion, this show would be...
That's true.
And you know, and I agree with that. Compliments to the wardrobe department on the show.
Yeah.
They work really, really hard. And everything, you know, because a lot of people, like when you watch TV show, you don't pay attention to things like the wardrobe department and the art department and the production design. Like, everything is really so exacting.
Yeah.
Because that show, and I was really lucky to jump in when I did and just participate in their well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same crew. It's the same people that have been on that show for 6-7 years. You know, they're like a family there.
Yeah, and you were telling us that you got to participate in the table read. How was that?
You know, that was, to me, that was sort of like a little bit of icing on the cake, you know, because you book TV shows and, you know, sometimes you just get thrown to the wolves and, you know, you just show up. But in this case, I was invited to the table read, so I didn't know what to expect. I figured it was just going to be the cast. Yeah. And, you know, I showed up not late, but 2 minutes before time. And so everybody's like sitting there, and there's literally like 40 people sitting around this massive rectangular table on the lot. And I'm like, oh, whoa, okay, here we go. You know, and everybody's got like name tags, and it was great for me because me coming in and being a bit of a novice to the show, I had seen the previous episode, but I don't have all the names down like Brand on Beat. You know what I mean? So like, I'm literally able to see all the actors and see their name tags. I'm like, okay, that's that character. Okay, Troy. Okay, cool. Okay, Spencer. Okay, and to watch everybody perform it out with the writers and the producers was really, really, really cool.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got FaceTime with everybody, and it just made. Like, I literally walked in and everybody they're like, oh, and David Bianchi, and they're like, everybody clapped.
Oh my God.
I'm like, okay, hi. There's that kind of party in here. But it was really welcoming, and it was really caring, and I kind of didn't, you know, so, you know, who knows? Maybe they'll bring me back to the show. There's still some season left.
Well, I mean, they have to show. she's bartending.
Right.
You're bartending. I feel like you have to come back at some point.
You know what? Little side caveat. I'm telling you, that day after the table read, little side thing, I'm walking back to my car, right? And then, so a certain somebody, I'll leave nameless, comes up to me and says, hey man, blah, 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 blah. Glad we were able to get you on the show. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. And so he's like, yeah, you auditioned like 4 weeks ago. And I'm like, yeah. And then so immediately I'm in my head, I'm like, okay, you're a producer because you've seen tape. I'm like, okay. And he says, yeah, man, you know, I'm glad we were able to get you in. And I'm like, yeah, thanks, man. He's like, hey, and you never know. The bartender might become something a little more interesting.
Ooh,
so then I'm saying to myself, I'm like, okay, now you're definitely a producer. And you're a writing producer. So, you know, and look, and there's a lot of show left. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. Maybe the gods smile on me.
There's a lot of show left.
There's a lot of show left. And everything revolves around that bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who knows?
If you could pick one girl to have
Babies with?
like a relationship with on the show,
Who would it be?
who would it be?
After Troy, and you probably want that, don't you?
No. It would definitely be Shay Mitchell. For sure.
Oh, yeah.
It would definitely be Shay. Shay's a beast. Shay's
Well,
a beast.
and that could totally happen too because she is the other bartender. I mean, I
Yep.
know that she doesn't swing that way, but I mean, like maybe
You never know.
one drunken night hanging out after hours.
One drunken night in the elevator.
In the
You
elevator
never
as
know.
well.
That elevator.
No, but to show those women, you know, the dignity that they deserve. You know, they're so cool. And I mentioned this to you guys previously. It's just like, I lost sight of the fact that these girls are like, you know, American superstars, global superstars.
Pretty much.
You know, I mean, they can't go to Starbucks and not get like attacked. You know, they can't. And they're so grounded and so really cool and
That's
really
awesome.
welcoming. So
I love hearing that. That's always nice
That's
to hear.
refreshing
Like
to
a
hear.
cast is great. And what was it like when you were filming with them?
Oh, I mean, they made the environment really warm. Nick Gonzalez, who's also in the scene with me and Troyan, so we spent a lot of time together, and then me and Shay spent a little bit of time together. But they just made it really fun.
That's awesome.
You know, and it was great because we're in the green room, like we were like downplaying everything and just talking about like how they started, and you know, I was able to just talk to them on a really cool sort of human level, you know, because we're all actors, you know. It's not like anybody's bigger or greater than anybody. This person just has had different opportunities than this other actor. You know? You know, and that's why we treat our waiters and our bussers and our bartenders really well, because you never know, they might own you at some point.
So true.
But I will say that like the process of being on Pretty Little Liars was a lot different than a lot of the stuff that I'm used to, because I come from, you know, a lot from the film world, independent film world, where things are grittier and harder and faster.
Yeah.
But you're like, okay, you walk on the Warner's lot, and you know, you got your honey wagons, and everything is clean and pristine and like delicately organized. Everything is air conditioned, and you know, and like the set is like stunning, and it you know, it really gives you a sense of luxury, which is which sometimes as an actor you don't always get.
No, that's fun. I mean, that's what we've heard, is that it's long days on that set, but that they treat their actors well, time and time again when people have been in here.
Yeah. Look, there's something really nice when you can, you know, leave your green room, walk 150 meters, and get like a cappuccino with like
That's
the most exotic creams and everything else, and like, you know, craft services is like pineapples that are formed into a swan. You know, it's
So
it's wild.
is craft services the best thing about the set?
For me, no, I have a strict diet. Like, I'm telling you, sister.
That was just for taking pictures.
I train hard.
For taking pictures.
Like, you know, you get this thing going down here, you want to keep that. Like, to me, craft services is the devil.
That too.
And I'm a glutton. I want a lot, and I want it now. So I really, yeah. But craft services are really good on the line.
So can we talk about the elevator scene since we've like brought up the bar?
I'll let you ladies start.
No,
Please.
I want to let you start with that experience because you talked a little bit about listening to everything in that elevator.
It was an experience. It was nice. You know what was really cool? We were in the table read, we were reading the whole thing, and then I talked to Nick a little bit afterwards, and I was like, "Hey man, that's good stuff, man." He's like, "Yeah,
That's good stuff.
And Nick is such a cool, humble dude. He just looks at me, he's like, "Yeah, it should be pretty good." That's all he says. You know, and I didn't know how far I was going to go. So, you know, I'm obviously behind the bar, and the director, Mr. Goy, who was cinematographer from American Horror Story Hotel, which was incredible and gnarly and bloody and sexy and sort of like masturbatory and all that kind of stuff, masochistic, misogynistic. And so I think that a little bit of that played into the cameras, into what you saw in today's episode.
Absolutely.
Oh, no, definitely a lot of it played in.
Everything was so much edgier. Like, even the angles and the way
I was going to
they
say the
brought in the
tone
camera.
definitely feels like we mentioned before that from ABC Family to Freeform, there's been a different tone on Pretty Little Liars
Absolutely.
this season, and then they kind of pushed it even further in this episode, which was exciting to see. I think that if they continue in that pattern, it's going to be great for the rest of season 7.
Completely.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and so, you know, when we're shooting, when they're shooting that scene, I should say, I'm behind the bar, so I have to stay behind the bar because the elevator door's closed, so the camera's facing out. So if the camera doesn't see me, then you lose continuity, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they had to keep me. So to me, I was like, cool. At that point, I'm in overtime, so I'm chilling. You know.
That's fine.
So I'm hanging out behind the bar, and what was really great is that, you know what? I love actors that are just invested. They just invest. You guys saw it. They invested.
They went for it.
They were in. It was good. And my thing was the elevator doors closed. So all I got was the sonic experience. You know what I'm saying? And I'm behind the bar. So it's almost like the mind is dirtier than the eyes. You know, because in my mind I'm like, okay, Troy and Belisar, she's really hot. I'm not gay, but I know a good looking dude when I see him. So I know that there's two good looking people getting down. And all I can hear are like the breaths and grunts and the moans and the bumping into the set and the just the trudgery of it. I'm like, and I'm behind the bar like, damn, I'm getting paid for this. This is good. You know, and I started to feel a little creepy, but I got okay with that. I was not blocking it out.
Because everybody on that set was creepy at that moment.
But you know
they were all hearing
But
it.
you know what's really fun is like the entire crew, they're like sitting they're sitting out of the frame, and they're all sitting on like the set couches and everything, and and like the grip and the electrics and the art department, they're all just sitting on the couches, and they're all just just being perfectly politically correct. Like, no, there's no sex sounds vibrating through the set right now. No women are moaning. No man is moaning. There's no belts and buckling. Nope.
Amazing.
That's so great.
I don't even know where to ask next from that, but I kind of want to know, how long does a scene like that take to film?
And how awkward.
I know you know down to the hour.
Yeah.
I'll give you a ballpark. Because I had already relieved myself by that point. So I love it. But no, it honestly it took about 2 hours. It took about 2 hours to
okay.
which is not that bad because in television you shoot very quickly.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times they're covering it on multiple cameras. And then and Michael Goy and Michael Goy is he's just a hell of a director. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's a cinematographer for a long time. But think about that though. Like, anybody out there that doesn't know what it takes to shoot a love scene, think about how exhausting that love scene can be for 2 hours. Over and over and over again. Remember when you guys first kissed somebody? Remember you're like 12 and you're too young to have sex, but all you do is like make out a lot? You just like make out a lot. It gets to the point like your lips kind of get tingly and numb. You remember that when you're a kid? Don't act like you guys don't remember that stuff, because I do.
Oh, we remember.
Oh, you remember. So it's like it gets uncomfortable. It's like, okay, we're going again. And you got to give it to those two to keep that intensity up
And like
keep that
the
intensity
connection
alive
and
keep,
all of that, yeah.
Yeah, all that.
Plus the whole camera crew, etc. around you.
Yeah, exactly. And but as you become a more seasoned actor, you sort of just kind of get numb to it. You're just like, you just try to be in the zone. And a lot of most good directors will make it what's called a closed set. So that way you only have who absolutely needs to be there.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to have
No
the
more
PA.
distractions.
Sort of
And they needed you there.
peeking behind a plant.
So, I mean, you got lucky.
Yeah.
I got the sonic experience. It was wonderful.
And that's amazing.
That-
I want to back up into the episode and talk a little bit about why she was making out with this guy. She had quite the scene with Caleb earlier in the episode.
Hannah.
That was actually my
Awkward.
one. Sorry, I thought the show was really well shot today, or for tonight. But that was actually my favorite scene. The way that he had the three characters all on screen. It was beautiful watching each one of their reactions and never actually making eye contact with each other. It was so beautiful to me. Actually.
I completely agree with that. And
they all did a great job in that scene.
I was getting so emotional watching that scene. I was like, wait, I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry.
Listen, I considered it too, and then I was like, we're not going to cry today.
I'm like,
we're not
I'm
going to
cry
watching this. It was, I had a moment. I was like, I can't look back at anybody. I'm going to cry.
I'm a Caleb fan, so...
we're talking about the glycerin scene,
the glycerin scene. The one teardrop.
Yeah.
That, by the way, guys, that was not like official like Denzel Washington tear. Okay, that was like okay, put a drop of glycerin. Okay, camera coverage and blink, drop. There was no real tear there, guys.
No.
But you know what? It looked great. But it looked real. It was perfect for the moment.
It was well done, though. It really was.
And I,
really
in some
pretty.
ways, loved Hannah's reaction more than than anything. I was like, I know they're having this emotional conversation, but her reaction
made the scene
work for me.
Yeah, taking in their relationship and where it was and when it started and that moment when he realized that he had feelings for her and her having to listen to all of that and react, it was really, really pretty.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also the fact that he, correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't realize that she was there, right? So
no.
So that's still something to come, I think, in episodes. I think there will be a conversation of some sort between Hannah and Caleb about, like, I can't believe I heard this, right?
But did he just, like, move out and leave? Like, when she showed up later to find him, did he move out?
I was like, where did he go? Why is he all of a sudden gone?
Yeah, they acted like he moved out.
Like...
Yeah.
And then
just
maybe
because
he's gone
Spencer wouldn't let you in.
Which would make sense to me, though, if they're going to keep the dude in the bar around for a little bit, get Caleb to go away for a bit, her have a little love affair, and then he comes back
together.
And he thinks it's true.
Yes.
One can only wonder.
Yeah. See, okay, great. Well, sold. We all know now.
Yeah.
I just want Caleb to find their way back to each other because...
I was going to say, do you think that that'll happen by the end of the season?
No, wait, you're a fan, you want them to get back together. I don't support that.
I'm a fan of them.
I am too, but
I think...
I don't know. I just think it's going to take time for... I think there might be...
Oh, no, definitely.
Like, I don't think it's going to happen in the next few episodes. I think this could be season 7B, as they like to do on Freeform. Yeah.
No, definitely. Because they're older and wiser now, and especially Hannah is smarter than she was back in high school.
I think also it's going to take a revelation from
recover.
Hannah that she actually has broken up with her fiancé. Because at this point, he still thinks she's in a committed relationship.
It also appears that I think that she emotionally has a little bit more baggage. They have a little bit more baggage, and she's willing to deal with.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like I think where they are in their relationships, it's really everything is really kind of confrontational.
Yeah.
And so I think that her response is really apropos. It's like I just need more time to figure this out, or have sex with other people, or just do whatever I want to do. Because right now this kind of sucks.
And I'm glad they actually addressed that in this episode, because last episode I was really bothered that they kind of brushed off their feelings and reactions to Hannah having kissed Caleb. And this one they finally addressed it by Spencer not being able to talk to either of them. And I liked her being like, I still need more time to be mad at you, because that's a real reaction. And I was really afraid that they were going to just blow that over to get the girls on the same team. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think in the last after show, I said that it really bothered me, because in real life, if you had that happen with a friend, it would take time to get over.
Yeah.
Like you would get over it, I think, if you're good enough friends.
Right.
But you just wouldn't be best friends day. Like, oh yeah, you made out with my ex. Cool. Like, that's not the reaction.
Great, let's keep burying the body.
Yeah.
It's... They're handling it in the show more like real life situations than before.
Yeah.
As they're burying a body. But like, like
As they're burying a body.
Burying her body as she's scrubbing the floor.
That's not so much of a real life.
Which brings us back to Elliot Rollins, the aftermath of his death. We've skipped all around tonight, but I kind of love it.
I do too.
So let's talk about this burner phone that he has, and Jenna's on the other end of it.
It doesn't surprise me, though, because in previous seasons, I mean, the first A storyline, they always presented that Jenna was a part of it in some capacity, and then they completely threw that out the window. So I'm glad that they're bringing that back into the new storyline. So at least they didn't completely abandon that. So then everything can be more connected, I feel like, you know?
Yeah, I hope she actually is part of it.
Do you think that she could be calling that phone by mistake? Like, why are we hearing her voice then?
It's totally not by mistake. Because she knew his name.
Yeah.
His real name.
Yeah.
It definitely not by mistake, but
Something?
Forgive my ignorance. Which one's Jenna?
Blind girl.
The blind chick.
Blind girl in stilettos.
Of course she's on the phone.
Yeah.
Of course. She can dial and everything.
no, she,
Come on.
I also don't think
They
she's
don't
blind.
make touchscreens in Braille. I mean,
I'm
You
also
bring up a good point, sir.
99% sure she's not blind anymore because she's been blind. She hasn't been blind. She's been blind.
Did anybody else also love the line of her being like, yeah, my house blew up? I'm like, of course your house blew up.
It did. Congrats.
that was hilarious. I laughed. We looked at each other. I laughed. I was
Like,
like,
that
that's so
happens.
funny.
Of course it
Didn't
did.
you know my house blew up?
That Andrew shed last time.
Yeah.
That seems
B,
about
how you
right.
been? How you been? You been well? So now you say it to me. All right? I see it already. B, how you been? You say, didn't you know my house blew up?
Didn't you know my house blew up?
Absolutely. I heard the other day. How is everything else?
Yeah.
Just casual conversation. And then they just toss that aside.
Yeah.
Beautiful one line.
No.
No more information.
course it
We don't
did.
need to know. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all,
Yeah.
it's all good. Don't worry about it.
Maybe it's how she got blind again. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, it's how she became blind the first time, so it's true.
I don't know. Yeah, that's going down a dark path.
Well, maybe
So-
that's the path they're trying to go down. That was their way of covering their tracks really, really quickly, and we're not even going to talk about it anymore.
And why did Hannah want her bracelet back so badly? Like,
Because it was evidence.
It was
though.
evidence, yeah.
I mean, evidence, sure, but I was like, was there an emotional component? Does she still have feelings for her? It's from her fiance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought that was more so evidence.
Evidence,
reasons.
yeah.
I felt it was
More so
evidence.
evidence
Okay.
than anything.
Even though
I love how crafty she was with a Slim Jim in a brand new C-Class Mercedes that has power locks.
in the middle of the day.
some brains.
And I do have to say though, how they like broke into it and then walked away, realized that the phone was in there, and then didn't have to break in again because they didn't lock back the doors. I was like, y'all,
Yeah, like that was
what are we doing?
genius.
But you know,
Genius right there.
See, that's what I love about Pretty Little Liars. It's just it's delightfully melodramatic and it works really well because
does. It
does.
because obviously the show is so good that we give the show permission.
Oh, yeah.
To let the blind lady call people on a touchscreen phone and
Yep.
whatever other else. It's like because the show's that good.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Very
It's
true.
just, it's kind of you believe in the Rosewood way and you just go with it.
You
You're
do.
like, all right, I guess this works. But
Whether the Rosewood way works or not.
yeah, you're like, all right, I guess so. Like we've talked about all the time, like lock a door ever. Like on the show,
Seriously.
they never lock
They don't.
doors, and it's crazy. Yeah.
They don't lock
And
doors. They never go to the police.
Lock your door.
They try to cover murders that they cannot cover. Like that's never nothing that they do. Everything that they thought was correct. I was like, you all trying to burn things, leaving the car tracks. Like, thank God they have Mona to come in and like set them straight a little bit. But does Mona even know what she's? I don't know. They need to get a consultant in there on like some crime work. I don't know.
Mona's
They do for that show. I feel like they need to bring in a crime consultant. Borrow one from somebody else on that lot.
I
I'm
love how
seriously.
upset you are.
It drives me bonkers. I'm not kidding. I get so mad every week about like the details.
Mona's always 50 steps ahead. They're always like 100 steps behind.
Oh yeah, I mean,
yeah.
but the police are 100 steps behind them.
Oh
so
yeah, no.
it's
So it doesn't
yeah
matter in
in the
That's
long
true.
run. But
Yeah.
it's just a real interesting. Yeah, but Mona's like knows
Mona
a
knows
lot.
everything that's going on. Even
Yeah.
if she's not in an episode, she knows everything.
We've had so many characters return this season, and they said that at the beginning of the season that we were gonna have a lot of characters. And tonight we had two major ones, Jenna and Mona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about also this flashback, this crazy flashback, Allie's flashback to the night that Charlotte was murdered or died. Yeah.
Yeah, that flashback actually made me be like, wait, did she commit suicide? I don't
Yeah.
know why that popped in my head, but
Yeah.
I was like, maybe she threw herself off that church steeple, whatever.
I still want her to be faking it, like her death in some way, but I don't think it's possible at this point.
That would frustrate me. Like,
It would frustrate me.
Be really annoyed by that.
I'd actually be kinda happy. I feel like
so you want Charlotte to come back?
I feel like Charlotte added something to the storyline. Charlotte being A.
Interesting. Okay, I could see that, but I think she's I think she's dead at this point.
I do too.
No, I think I think she is. I just wish they hadn't had killed her off so quickly.
Well, they'll have flashbacks of her. I mean, they have to keep doing that. So she'll still be there. No worries.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But that flashback was kind of tragic to me. Like, she was fighting about Elliot, this guy who clearly is not who he seems at this point.
Right. Well, which proved, though, that Allie and Charlotte were both aware that they were both involved with Elliot in some way, which before we kind of questioned, we didn't know if Allie knew that Charlotte had dated Elliot at some point. And now at least that confirmed that they were aware of it and had conversations about it. But it also confirmed that neither of them knew his real identity.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I got from it, was that they're still in the dark about who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll have a little news and gossip about Ren and how he all plays in, we think, to this bigger story. But I want to talk a little bit more about you. We talked about your experience on Pretty Little Liars, but I want to find out about the independent film projects and everything you've got going on. But first, tell me about this audition. Ooh, I know, right?
I'm just wondering if you're looking for me.
Totally you, David.
Somebody else in the room.
100% you. So let's talk about the audition process and what it was like when you found out you got the role on Pretty Little Liars.
You know what? I was really stoked. It's always exciting. Look, I don't care like how big or how small the role. Look, at the end of the day, whatever you do, you have to do with purpose.
Yeah.
And for all the actors out there that sometimes get a little exasperated, whenever you're on national TV, it's a big fucking deal.
Oh, yeah.
It really
All right,
is.
you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, you take baby steps to get to, you know, because this is a long haul career. You know what I'm saying? It was, and it was cool because I went and I auditioned for, I think I mentioned earlier, I went and auditioned and I knew I killed it. I walked, you know, I knew I killed it. I wasn't worried about that. And then, but I didn't get a call. And I was like, oh, well, but you know, sometimes you kill auditions all the time, but things are out of your control.
Right.
Because it's like sometimes the producers want a great look. He's a great actor, but you know what? He's not black enough. Oh, he's not Latino enough. You know what? He won't really match well next to so-and-so.
Yeah.
There's so many decisions that are made behind the scenes that you have no control over. So you just got to do the best that you can. 4 weeks later, I got a call and they invited me back to the show, which was super, super cool.
That's awesome.
I was really, really excited. And, you know, and because you never know what this stuff leads to. You know?
Yeah.
You meet
And it just proves that they don't forget about you. You made the impression and they'll keep you in mind for other things.
Right,
which is
exactly.
Wonderful.
And as an actor, I say that to a lot of actors. It's like, only focus on what you can control.
Right.
You know, your job is to go in and translate this text and turn it to life and make it a realistic performance.
Yeah.
Okay? So your job is to go in and book the room. You're not going in to book the job.
Right.
Because that's out of your control. The only thing that you can control is what you do in the room.
Right.
Don't freeze up. Don't be a dick. Be polite. Be professional. Hit your marks. Know your lines. Shut the fuck up and leave. You know, in a very fast way. We're on the internet. I could say fuck.
Yes.
It's
You're good.
too fucking late, anyways. But that's what you get. That's what you get.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, you know, the independent film and the television gods smile at you.
And they did. They have. I mean, it's great.
I mean, you're on Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to bring that bartender back. So, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
You know what?
In
He
some
seemed
way.
like a cool dude. He really handled his glassware quite well. I'm just guessing.
You're going to have to, like, grow back the little, like, stubble, though.
I'm so happy to do that.
Yeah.
Really?
So happy to do that.
And tell me about the kind of Twitter reaction. The show is like social media crazy. Has there been any Twitter reaction, or have you gotten more involved in social media because of the show? What's been the experience so far?
I have a little bit, and I try to hashtag and I try to at this, that, and you know,
Yeah.
I try to stay pretty active. It has been cool. Like I've noticed like certainly an increased amount of retweets on my phone than I normally get. Like I'll post something, I'll get anywhere from 4 to 15 and 20 maybe retweets. This PLL thing, it's like 20, 30, 40 retweets. I mean, the power of this show is out of control. And I mentioned that earlier when I was talking about, you know, like Shay and Troy and like, you know, whatever I just said earlier, like they can tell girls to eat purple Cheetos if they existed, and you would have a bunch of 19 and 16-year-olds running around with purple fingers and purple mouths,
Posting photos,
posting photos of them eating, you know, because Shay said so.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the amount of power that this show has and the amount of power that those girls have is really, really hard to fathom. And I applaud the entire cast of Pretty Little Liars because that's a lot of responsibility. Mm-hmm. You know, it really, really is. And, you know, you never hear of them being like debaucherous or doing the wrong thing or like, you know, going the Britney Spears or the early Paris Hilton route. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're smart girls that have kept smart people around them that have been able to teach them as young women to how to move through a really powerful career.
Absolutely. And they also do a lot of charity work. And I noticed you do as well on your Instagram. You work with Starving Artists Project, correct?
Yeah. The Starving Artists Project is a really, really cool thing put together by a Getty photographer named Michael Bezgian. And what he does is he opens up his home, which is also his active studio in West Hollywood, every other Wednesday to starving artists. So if you're an actor out there and you need headshots, because everybody needs photography to further their careers, but you can't afford it. So he opens up his home to actors that can't afford photography, and this Getty image photographer shoots you multiple looks, headshots for free.
That's
and
amazing.
so what he does to support that is he brings in actors like me and other series regulars and other more recognizable faces, and then we shoot Getty portraits. So by bringing in recognizable talent, sponsors want to come in because they want to penetrate us. And so sponsors pay for presence in the studio because we show up. And so on the opposite weeks, he's able to offer free headshots to starving artists. So that's what the Starving Artists Project is. And definitely check it out. The Starving Artists Project, I think it's .net.com, but look it up. They're totally cool. And if you are an actor out there or whatever you are, you need pictures, go there. They'll totally take care of you.
That's wonderful.
It's really, really cool.
Really cool.
And another thing that they do is like when we leave there, he gives us this little certificate. It says, you now get to write this out to whoever I want, and that person gets a lifetime of free headshots.
Oh my gosh.
It's mind bending.
That's amazing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So
Becca, did you have a question?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, good. I wasn't sure. So I did want to find out about your independent films. You mentioned it briefly earlier in the show, and you just had one come out, right? All Out Dysfunction.
All Out Dysfunction is releasing nationwide. VOD, iVOD, Xbox, Hulu, cable, iTunes, the whole deal. September 1st.
Nice.
And it's going to be available for pre-order on iTunes probably by mid-August. So definitely look for it. I wrote it, I produced it, and I also play one of the leads. It's six dysfunctional Hollywood types that all live in this massive mansion, and the only thing that ties them together is they all have rooms for rent on Craigslist.
Oh my God,
It's what can and will go wrong in 24 hours. So you've got like this like Juilliard germaphobe actor who I play, and then you've got this like webcam porn chick, and you've got this like bulimic runway model who's hooked on blow. You got a Gore-Effects makeup artist, and then you've got this MIT Punjabi dude who's like hacking into the porn chick's website all day, and it's just chaos. It's like Hangover meets Boogie Nights with Requiem for a Dream sprinkled on top.
Awesome.
It's like LA on steroids.
You know, and that's the thing. It is the LA story. It's like, where do the starving artists live? Yeah. They all rent rooms in some mansion somewhere in the San Fernando Valley.
It's so true. And it's so perfect.
Well, it sounds exciting.
So that was the inspiration. Was actually some friends of mine when I first moved to LA were living in what he called the fucked up mansion. And I went there and I was like, I gotta make a movie here. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. So I wrote the script like 7 years ago, the first draft. And so now, after many, many years of producing and so on and so forth, it's finally releasing. We're gonna have a big premiere at LA Live in September.
Oh, that's awesome.
So look for All Out Dysfunction online. It's a fucking mess. And
That's awesome.
It's a beautiful disaster. The critics are loving it. It's cool.
Yeah, it sounds like a really exciting project.
Thanks for letting me plug that.
Yeah,
that
that's a great. Like when I was doing research, I was like, I want to know more about this. This is so exciting.
You definitely want to see it. If you like cocaine, ecstasy, masturbation shoots, porn, nitrous tanks, raves,
my favorite kind of movies,
like, laugh out loud, hysterical, ridiculous comedy, this is a movie for you.
You just sold it. You 100% sold it. Before we wrap up, I think I'm going to save news and gossip this week for another time. But let's do some quick predictions for the show.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Oh my God. Sorry, he showed me the picture for the movie, and it looks great. I wish you all could see it because then you could find it online. Just look for it.
It's just,
it's worth seeing.
It's gonna make you want to see it. Thanks, that helped like distract me from my predictions that I couldn't come up with.
Yeah.
No, but I figured it out. See, like the sexual cover made me think about what I wanted my prediction to be.
All right, you have one?
Well, I mentioned it earlier, but I think Troy and dude at the bar will continue to hook up. I mentioned out there, I think he's going to end up being a cop, and I believe that that's going to happen. I think that's going to happen.
Where do you find that?
Well, it kind of looked like it in the preview, did it not? They gave him like a profesh sit on the table kind of thing.
The profesh.
That's what it was. Kind of like sit on the table.
Yes.
Here's the deal. I was like, that's a cop part for sure. And like,
Gotta have more cops.
yeah. And
More
when
of these young
you
cops.
throw that out to people who are on shows and they can't say anything, you're like, I'm right. So my read off of it is that's what's going to happen. And as far as the proposal goes,
That was my next question. Who is getting a proposal?
I was thinking about that, and I was like, I want it to be Halo, but it's not gonna be. I feel like it'll be Ezra and Arya.
I was going to say, that's what I think too. Arya and Ezra.
I don't think it's actually going to be that either.
It's either gonna be.
You said Emily a few weeks
Yeah,
ago.
That's because I thought Emily and Allie would actually end up being like the romantic wedding that they end up having, but it's too soon for them to
get back together.
Yeah, so now I don't know anymore.
Well-being.
And it could not be that this proposal could not end in a wedding. It could be another wedding. We never know.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Right?
Wait,
'Cause
what?
The proposal next week, it's a proposal. It's not the wedding.
True.
So they've teased a romantic wedding for the season. So in
So
theory,
there could be a breakup before.
right, before this
That
proposal
actually happens.
Yeah. And it could be some other couple that's actually
It's
getting
going to
married.
be a big deal because it was like hashtag PLL proposal. Like, okay. They're out there right now. Like,
Yes. Playing it up.
Yes, tweet at us using the hashtag ABTVPLL, and we'll look at your all of your thoughts on who this proposal is going to be.
I mean, it could even be someone who's not like one of the main four girls, maybe.
I don't know. I think that would be a disappointment. I don't know. I want it to be one of the four girls.
No,
It could be.
I want it to be one of the four girls as well.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Maybe it's Caleb and Spencer?
Ooh, is that a yes or no? If that's the case.
If that's the case,
That would be an interesting one too. Well, with that, I think we should wrap it up. Thank you so much, David, for joining us. It was great to get all the insight and insides into Pretty Little Liars tonight. And you can find me at Stephanie Wenger, and you can find AfterBuzz at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter and Instagram. Where can they find you, David?
Again, David Bianchi. You can find me at David Bianchi at Twitter. On Instagram, you can find me at DBianchiSag. Also find me anywhere else. Just Google me. I'm there.
And I'm Hannah Prichard. You all can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Hotshot Dude.
y'all can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV.
See you all next week. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.